Our next guest, and I'll just say good morning and thank you for joining us, Kim Peterson.
Good morning, James.
There you are. Now, Kim, you are very heavily involved in your role as one of the committee members of the Jarrahdale Community Association, the JCA.
That's right, James.
And we chatted briefly last week about things that are happening in and around the neighbourhood tomorrow. And lo and behold, we just ran out of time because there's just always things happening in and around your part of the world, and we thought we'd take a further opportunity to update ourselves on a couple of other issues which are also very exciting. And for the blokes, I'm going to give you first berth this morning, boys. The men's shed down at Jarrahdale, what's happening there, Kim?
Well, basically, James, we had a gentleman approach the Jarrahdale Community Association, Brian Phillips, who was actually involved in building the Endeavour replica in Fremantle a few years ago. And he's retired and decided that he would love to get a men's shed going in Serpentine Jarrahdale and approached the Jarrahdale Community Association for support. So we've basically been working with him and getting together a group of interested people from around the community, a rep from the RSL and other very strong community members like an ex-councillor, Tom Hoyer, our councillor, Barry Urban and others. And we've been pushing to get some land up near the Jarrahdale Mill to get a site for the men's shed, and that lease is about to be signed for 11,000 square metres.
Sensational. Good stuff for all of the blokes who even have their own shed. It's nice to have a shed that is shared with others, or that there are others in and around. But more importantly, it's great to see that the guys have secured somewhere to call home.
Yes, well, we're actually, the process of then getting a shed on the site is going to take quite a bit of time. So we're actually going to be opening from a temporary location located at 17 Jarrahdale Road, in an old dairy shed on a property opening on the 1st of March next year.
Well, again, all consistent with the neighbourhood though, isn't it, in terms of the short-term, long-term home should be an old dairy building.
That's right. Well, men's sheds are just such a vital piece of infrastructure in communities today, because a lot of men have very busy, active working careers, and when they retire they find themselves sometimes at a little bit of a loss because they no longer have that male companionship around them, and they're looking for something to do.
Sure, and I know that recently the West Australian West Australian Men's Shed Association had their annual general meeting, and also an opportunity to get together collectively in Cannington, I think a week and a half ago, thereabouts, and exciting to hear of so many things happening right across Metro Perth and regional Perth for that matter, because these men's shed are proven on a national basis that the guys want them, and like everything, it takes a bit of initiative to get them off the ground, and that's exactly what's happening here. We've got a bit of turf, and now we've got to create the men's shed in literal terms.
Well, I think I actually attended that conference, and I was told that there are over 150 sheds in WA, and it's increasing all the time.
Yeah. And
that there's even talk of a woman's powder room based on the men's shed concept popping up, I think in the Kalamunda area. So,
okay.
The women are actually thinking of coming on board now because the men's sheds have been so successful.
Yes, and so that's a powder room attached to the men's shed. Are we talking philosophically, are we?
It's just a new concept that's come up that we were told about at the conference.
Yeah.
But men's sheds are just so vital. It's not just about fixing furniture and building toys. They're fixing men and building communities as well, because one of the major goals of a men's shed is to advance the health and well-being of the male members, and also to encourage that social inclusion. And a lot of men will not seek help for medical issues, and they won't talk about it with their doctor, but they'll talk about it with a mate in a different sort of environment. So it's very, very important.
Very much so, and they are proving, as you've indicated quite clearly, that they are an essential part of our developing community, and certainly for those that are a little bit shy, perhaps a little bit reticent in getting involved, here's a perfect opportunity. If you live in and around the Jarrahdale neighbourhood, get involved with the men's shed. Now, from that particular perspective, what can they do at this stage? Who should they contact? What's the story there? Can you tell us anything, Kim?
Absolutely. Even if you're not in the Jarrahdale area, there are other men's sheds like the Forestdale men's shed.
Yes.
If you just pop online and Google WAMSA, West Australian Men's Shed Association, there's actually a list of where your local men's sheds are.
Yes.
And there's also contact details on WAMSA where you can get further information and advice.
Excellent. The fallback position there is always a very informative website that they do have, and certainly again, Gosnells have got one, Armidale have got one, they are all over the place. Canning has got one, so certainly wherever you are in the neighbourhood, there is one close by, and if you aren't involved, please at least come down, have a coffee, have a bit of a squiz around, and even if you sit there and do nothing, they don't care. You are being involved in the community. That is the men's shed. So great to hear